All right, welcome back. So I thought I would do a little what's in the bag, but very quickly, some good news. We are into final qualifying next week, which is amazing. We got in as a reserve. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna start with the wedges. I have the Mizuno T1s in a 60, a 52, and a 56. Now the lofts are 60, 55, 50. That's just how I've always liked to play them. And yeah, there's no fancy bounces. My lob wedge has a little bit off of the toe, just to give me a few more options around the green, but pretty stock. And I use the NS Pro Wedge 125 shafts in these. I've loved them for God knows how many years. Nip-ons just feel amazing to me, and I will never change out of this shaft. And when it comes to grip, I have a lamp gear mid-size on my wedges, and I change into a Z-cord mid-size on my irons. I don't know why, it's just personal preference, but moving into the irons, I switched into these this year from my beloved Wilsons, the Mizuno Pro S3s. Now, these are probably the best irons I've ever used. They look similar to the blades that I've been using the last 2 years, but through the turf, they just feel, to me, like the club gets through the turf and comes out a lot easier. My divots are perfect with these things. And yeah, I'm super impressed. I really didn't want to go away from a blade, but since switching to these, I think my iron play has improved a little bit, which is always a positive whenever you're changing equipment. And when it comes to shafts in these, I have the NS Pro Tour 120Xs, so nothing too heavy. I swing my irons pretty smooth, so I like to have somewhat of a softer profile in my irons. I never really hit them full, so for me, something that I can swing nice and smooth is always going to be preferred. Now I have this from wedge all the way up until 4, and then I go into my Mizuno Fli-Hi, which I have in a 3. I've had this for about 3.5 years now, or 3 years, and it's amazing with a Ventus Black 10TX hybrid shaft in here. Standard length, nothing fancy about that. I actually have this in a 3, a 2, and now more recently a 1, which I usually play with. I have 2 options in the bag at the moment, but this one is, again, a Ventus Black 10TX hybrid shaft, and I love it. I love the 1, the 2, and the 3. I think these are probably the best driving irons I've ever used, and I'll be keeping them until I stop playing golf. Now, the only thing I will switch out the one iron with is a 3-wood. However, I've struggled to find a good 3-wood recently. Now, shout out to Mark at TaylorMade for building me this. This is the Qi35. I'm not sure what head it is, but it looks pretty standard. And I've had this cut down 3/4 of an inch and added a little more weight at the top to try take some spin off. But this is the Ventus Blue TR7X. I've always used the Ventus Black, but this feels like it gives me a little more height, which helps me coming into, let's say, par 5 greens. I actually prefer my 3-wood to be on the spinnier side and the higher side. So yeah, this feels really easy for me to hit. So at the moment, I'm struggling whether I want to put the 1 iron in or the 3-wood. The 1 iron's amazing, but I think this gives me a little more height. And also out of tough lies, maybe in the rough, this is probably a bit better. So that is the 3-wood. Now into the driver. I was using the Qi10, which broke. Then I had to replace it with a Qi35. And I think this is growing on me. I'm learning to really love this driver. Of course, the monkey head cover, I've had this guy since, I believe, 2014 in college. So he stays with me forever. And I've got the Qi35 LS head. I've tinkered around with this a lot. There are 3 weight ports here, and I think you need to really play around with it to find the fit for you. So this is the biggest difference I've found, obviously, between last year's model and this. There are just tons more options available on the club head, which I think are beneficial to players. You can create exactly what ball flight you want, and I think that's amazing, but it does take some getting used to and a lot of tinkering, to be honest. Also, the head weight is a little lighter, so I did get some glue put in this, but anyway, I have an 8-degree head set to, I think, 7.25 or 7.5. And I actually have a new shaft in here. It's a Diamond Blue Board 63X. I've always used Ventus Black, but I don't know, I think as I mature, I am understanding that being able to just swing it smooth on the course with my irons and off of the tee is quite beneficial. With the Ventus Black, I felt like I had to go at it all the time, and that's not really sustainable. So with this, I do feel like I can still get after it. It goes really far, but I can also stand up on the tee and swing it like 80%. So that's the reason why this shaft is really, really nice, and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. So that is the driver. Now finally, my putter, which always changes. I have been using a counterbalance spider recently. Now, this is 38 inches. And the reason that I've put this in is because I struggle to keep the face open on the way back. I have a tendency to shut the face quite a lot, especially with the blade. And since switching to this, I found it a lot easier for me to keep the blade square. So this putter, it feels like I'm using stabilizers a little bit. I mean, it's giving me a ton of help on the way back and on the way through, but to be honest, I really need it. And I've been really enjoying this. So I've changed the grip on this. It came with a slightly thicker super stroke, but I've gone to this, which feels a lot nicer in my hands, and it hasn't changed the head weight too much. So moving forward, I think, you know, I've had some really good rounds with this so far. In fact, I've actually gained strokes putting over 18 with this recently, which I haven't done in years. So I'm seeing a lot of positives with this putter, and I think this is going to be the one I play with at final qualifying on Tuesday, which of course, as well as I do need to hit it, it's all going to come down to putting and having a hot putting day, because it's just 36 holes. There are about 3-4 spots up for grabs, and yeah, going to need to hold everything. And I think we could do it with this thing. Right, so now for what's actually inside my bag. I don't quite have everything because this bag is a little smaller. However, I have my gloves. I used a Titleist player's glove or FootJoy. Oh no, it's Titleist, it says Titleist there. My tees, you always need plenty of tees. And then I have something that I would highly advise everybody to put in their bag, and that's a pencil case. It's really, really useful, and you'll find that you will just never be that guy again who needs a pencil or who needs a Sharpie or who needs a coin, because it will all just be in your pencil case. Of course, I carry my golf ball, which is the latest version of the Titleist Pro V1. Nothing special. I've played around with golf balls in the past, but I've just never found anything that feels as good off the face as a Titleist. The TP5X I quite like. It goes really far, but I can't control my distances as well with that. So the other thing I have is a little valuables pouch. I do like to collect these things from cool courses. This one here is from Sunningdale. And in here, I just have my wrench, because I do fiddle a lot. And then I have various little alignment tools for when I do sometimes use a line on my golf ball. So I think it's definitely worth having all of that in your bag. And then on the other side, oh, of course you need a brush, because keeping your clubs clean is incredibly important. Now in this side, I have backup gloves. I also have my Vizio putting mat. And finally, I don't go anywhere without the swing plate. I use this for every single warm-up session. I have it set to a certain number so that my swing can stay consistent throughout the year. And yeah, this is probably the most important thing in my bag. But anyway, if you have any more questions about what's in my bag, just drop me a comment. But yeah, that is my current 2025 what's in the bag. Oh, also, we're going to be filming all 36 holes on Tuesday at Burnham & Barrow. Whether I play good or bad, I think it will be a really cool experience. I hope you will enjoy watching that content. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to see more of this, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to put out tons more content over the rest of the year. Take care.